2022. The time is now 7:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Here.
Mr. Mancuso,
Here.
Ms. Wilson,
Here.
Mayor Gyorfy.
Here. Will everyone now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by committee member Mancuso, and then stay standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, please remain standing in honor of the residents who lost their lives at a tragic fire earlier this month on Normandy Heights Road. Thank you. We have the following three resolutions on tonight's agenda pursuant to the recent resignation of committee member Tara Oliver-Moore. The first resolution is to appoint Donna J. Guariglia to temporarily fill the vacancy left by Ms. Oliver-Moore. The following two resolutions substitute Ms. Guariglia for Ms. Oliver-Moore on standing committees and other boards and committees. Madam Clerk.
The first resolution is resolution number 171-22, a resolution appointing Donna J. Guariglia to temporarily fill the vacant committee seat of committee member Tara Oliver-Moore, effective immediately upon adoption.
May I have a motion to approve resolution number 171-22?
So moved.
Second. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Ravitz got the second. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Gyorfy.
Yes. Congratulations, Donna. At this time, we would like to swear in Ms. Guariglia. The oath of office will be administered by Township Attorney Jared Cantor.
Let's see, but Ms. Ray, if you could raise your right hand, please. Do you, Donna J. Guariglia, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and will bear faith and allegiance to same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, repeat after me. I, Donna J. Guariglia,
I, Donna J. Guariglia,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of committee member
perform all the duties of committee member
of the Township Committee
of the Township Committee
of the Township of Morris
of the Township of Morris,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, committee woman.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again. The committee members will provide commentary during our normal commentary period and reports. May I now have a motion to approve resolutions numbers 172-22 and 173-22 by one motion?
I'll
So
move that.
moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
May I now have a motion to approve resolutions numbers 172-22 and 173-22?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Guariglia,
yes,
Mayor Gyorfy.
Yes. Okay, moving on to proclamations. We have two proclamations on this evening's agenda. The first proclamation congratulates Dr. Cohen, who is retiring after 50 years as a pediatrician in our community. And the second is a proclamation recognizing Advocare Morristown Pediatrics for over 50 years of providing excellent health care. It is a privilege tonight to recognize Dr. Martin Cohen, a longtime Morris Township resident, for his lifelong service to our community for over 50 years, with his pediatric practice, Morristown Pediatrics, which he started with Dr. William Lepakin back in 1972. With us in person tonight from Advocare Morristown Pediatrics is Dr. Nashi, who serves as a partner, and Nikki Sims. Dr. Nashi joined the practice back in 1997 and was honored with the Patient's Choice Recognition Award in 2008, 2009, and 2010, and has now been with the practice for 25 years. Dr. Martin Cohen, who's on with us virtually tonight, is a board-certified pediatrician with extensive experience in caring for the health of infants and children. In addition to his emphasis on patient care, Dr. Cohen has been very active in the academic world and has served as the assistant clinical professor of pediatrics at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. He also held the post as president of the medical dental staff of Morristown Memorial Hospital from 1998 to 1999, and earned the title of president of the combined medical staffs of Atlantic Health System in 2000. Recently, Dr. Cohen has been listed twice in New Jersey Magazine's annual Top Doctors in New Jersey, and is recognized as a top doctor in the New York metro area. With a military background, Dr. Cohen served as a major in the United States Air Force, assigned as chief of pediatrics in Abilene, Texas. Dr. Cohen completed his pediatrics postgraduate training at Children's Hospital in Akron, Ohio, where he was chief resident in pediatrics. He earned his MD at the State University of New York at Syracuse in June 1967. Dr. Cohen is married to Joan Cohen, a Morristown native. They have 3 grown children and 7 grandchildren. Dr. Cohen, Dr. Nashi, and the entire Morristown pediatric family, on behalf of Morris Township, we congratulate you both for your practice's accomplishments, for Dr. Cohen for your career of serving others, and through your pediatric work, and for all the outstanding things you have done on behalf of the Morris Township, Morristown community. And it's a pleasure for me to be here to present the proclamation to Dr. Nashi as someone who myself and my siblings went to Morristown Pediatrics our entire younger lives with. I remember whenever we get sick or for our annual checkups, it is always Dr. Cohen, Dr. Lepakin, or Dr. Nashi. And I know my mom would always roll her eyes when she'd have to bring us back there because we were there pretty often. So it's really touching to be able to present the proclamations tonight. We're so happy that you're right there on James Street still. And if anyone wants to say a few words, if Dr. Cohen wanted to say a few words from Zoom, or if Dr. Nashi wanted to, we'd be willing to let you go. You can go right up to the mic if you want.
This is Dr. Cohen on Zoom.
Hi, Dr. Cohen.
Hi, I do want to say just a quick thing. I want to thank the Township of Morris for this honor. It's been my honor to take care of 2 generations of patients in Morris County, including some of the members who are there tonight and some of the members' children. The practice has always sought to listen to our patients and our parents, to facilitate our patients growing up to be healthy and successful adults, and to calm the fears and concerns of their parents. To this end, we were active in making Morristown Medical Center better. We spent time on committees and time teaching the future generation of doctors, nurses, and medical professionals. Again, I'm honored to be recognized for a job that I truly enjoy. I have been blessed with a wonderful staff and a great and supportive family. If you enjoy what you're doing, it's not actually a job. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. Dr. Nashi?
Again, I just second Dr. Cohen. First, for Dr. Cohen, I think he was my mentor. He was my colleague. He was my friend, and he was my family since I started in Morris Township 30 years ago. When I came here, I met him, and he was a great pediatrician, a great person, him and Joan, of course. I'm proud and I'm really thankful for the recognition that the Morris Township County did. And it's really, I feel Very, very privileged to be here and to serve this beautiful community. And I'm proud of you, Mr. Mayor, to be here as my patient and that's wonderful. And hopefully we'll continue doing the same great job we've been doing before and forever. Thank you very much, really.
Thank you, all of you, for being part of our community still for so long and continuing to do great work. And I know, my family has always had a positive, you've always made a positive impact on my family, and I know you're continuing to do that with families throughout our area. So thank you, Dr. Cohen. Thank you, Dr. Nashi, for everything. If we want to do a quick photo here in person, and then we'll move on. Wants to anyone? Greg. Yeah, you want to go over here? Watch the wires. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You want to take them both with you then? I'll take both. Thank you so much. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you at the fall festival.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marty, this is Peter. On behalf of Lois and myself and our boys, we wish you all the best. We have been friends with you for the better part of 40 or 50 years. I'm so proud of all the things that you've done for this community and all the things that you've done for the people you know well. You've been a wonderful friend, and all I do is wish you God's blessing.
Thank you, Peter. And our friendship has extended a long time, and we've always cherished it. I thank you very much, and I thank you for this honor.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Any further commentary from the committee?
Just a quick one for me. Just thank you, doctor, for your dedication, your lifelong dedication to pediatric health, and best of everything to you for the next chapter of your lives, and happy retirement.
And Dr. Cohen too, I'll just add congratulations and thank you for all your good work, and enjoy.
The same. Thank you for all you've done for our community, and all best wishes.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you, Mike.
joining us. We will be in touch, and feel free to reach out at any point. All righty. Moving on to the next item of our agenda is the first public comment and inquiry period on agenda items only. If you are a member of the public and wish to speak, please raise your digital hand. We currently have 12 members of the public currently on Zoom. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion now to open the public comment?
I'll move that.
Second,
All right, we'll open it up, and I see a hand raised by Mr. George Quillen.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Mayor. George Quillen, 7 Bishop Court in the Township, and I don't have any questions. I just wanted to express my thanks to Donna Guariglia for stepping forward and agreeing to serve on the Township Committee, and congratulate her for being chosen to serve on the committee. I think all the other committee members are going to be very pleased with her work. I find her to be a thoughtful person, hardworking, a good listener, and she certainly, through her experience working in various venues, has a great deal of skill at dealing with conflict and with bringing people together and understanding conflicting points of view, and making progress toward good outcomes for the community. So I think she's going to be a great addition to the committee, and I really wanted to congratulate her and thank her for her willingness to serve. I also wanted to recognize Jennifer Karsich and Siva Janata for also stepping forward and being considered for Township Committee. It's great to have multiple people who are willing to serve and who are well qualified. So I'm sure that what I'm saying is going to be repeated by the Township Committee members at the end as well. But I just wanted to get in my comment and say congratulations, Donna, and I'm looking forward to seeing your work on the Township Committee. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quillen.
Thank you, George.
Seeing no further members of the public wishing to speak, will someone now make a motion to close the first public comment period?
I'll move that.
Second,
All
Second,
in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay. We have one ordinance for public hearing and final consideration at tonight's meeting. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the ordinance into the record, and we will then open the public hearing.
Ordinance number 20-22, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris for public contracting pay-to-play reform.
Okay, at this time, we'll open up the public hearing for any comments from the public. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have any questions that you'd like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 20-22?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
If you have a comment or question, please raise your hand. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public comment period?
so moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I now have a motion to adopt ordinance number 20-22?
so
I would
moved.
make,
Oh, Peter,
Okay.
I'm gonna let Peter do it.
I would make a motion that we accept the ordinance as stated in the record.
And I will second that.
Any discussion or questions from the Township Committee?
Mayor, I have a few comments.
Ms. Wilson, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, as you may remember, I abstained from voting last month to introduce this ordinance because I wanted to get further information about what it says and what it means. And I have a few comments to express my views on this ordinance tonight. The public wants to know that when people are hired, they're hired because they're the best qualified for the job, not because of their political affiliation or because they've contributed large sums of money. The purpose of this ordinance is to provide that assurance. I support that purpose and that message. What's not well known among the public at large is that New Jersey state law, known as Chapter 19, already establishes contribution limits under certain conditions. This ordinance extends those contributions to all situations where we, the governing body, hire people to fill professional positions. I support that extension. Ironically, in my opinion, the real most important change we've made in assuring that the best, most qualified people are hired in our town is not covered in this ordinance, nor is it addressed in the state law. That change has to do with the hiring process itself. The hiring process we've instituted, which is not written down anywhere, but perhaps should be, is to ensure that a minimum of 3 people are interviewed as part of any appointments this governing body makes for professional positions. Our interview process includes staff members who will work directly with the professionals who are appointed. This is an excellent way of ensuring that the criteria considered as part of the hiring process go way beyond politics and deal with the applicant's qualifications to do the day-to-day work for which they are being hired. To me, this change in our hiring practices is the most important change we've made in taking politics out of the appointment process. I see the ordinance before us tonight as another way of supporting that goal. So I would encourage our legislation committee to consider putting our hiring practices in writing. As to my view, that approach has an equally, if not more, important effect in ensuring that the best qualified people are hired to fill professional positions. So with that as background, my vote, I do plan to support this ordinance when we vote.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilson. And as the chair of the legislation committee, I am all in on working that up. And I agree. I think this pay to play ordinance in and of itself doesn't factor in everything. And I know as a governing majority, we made a point to make sure we go to RFP or handle at least 3 professional interviews for as much as pretty much any hiring practice that we do. So I'd be happy to work with you and Mr. Ravitz and the committee to move a resolution. I would imagine it would have to be forward. And we know last year we went to RFP and had that process that you were directly involved with
I
Mr.
was.
Mancuso last fall. I think it's just as important to start that process early in the year as opposed to late in the year.
Agreed.
And so I appreciate your comments, and I think this whole governing body pretty much agrees. And I see Mr. Ravitz has his hand up, so I will turn it over to him. And
Well,
commend Mr.
I
Ravitz
just-
for moving the ordinance forward and moving the whole initiative forward.
I just want to echo what you said, Mr. Mayor, and I want to thank, Deputy Mayor Wilson for very thoughtful comments. And I want to say that I am in complete agreement with that. And as second chair of the legislative committee, that is something that we're going to work on. And perhaps we'll have that out for first reading at next month's Township Committee meeting. So thank you for that. That is something that is definitely needed to add to our restoring faith in community government.
Yep. And
Thank you.
we've done resolutions codifying a lot of practices and best practices, whether it was with land use or environmental practices and sustainability things. So why not this? So I thank you for the suggestion, and we'll definitely work towards it.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just delighted that we're about to vote on this ordinance. I think in the 21 years that I have been of service to Morris Township, this may be one of the most important pieces of legislation we have ever had to vote on. So obviously, my vote will be yes on this, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mancuso. And based on, the overall topic or theme of this ordinance, we appreciate having a bipartisan majority on this and moving that ordinance forward. So Ms. Guariglia.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, and Kathy, I think your comments are very well taken. I would like, the Morris Township residents to know that for me, and I know I'm new right now, but in a lot of the other work I've done, supporting pay to play ordinances is something that I think helps the taxpayers have trust and faith in the local government as well. So it's something I plan to support as well, and have studied it.
Well said. Thank you.
Okay. With that, then, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number, I'm sorry.
Just a roll call.
Okay, sorry, I did that already. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Thank you, Mr. Cantor.
Mr. Ravitz,
I am pleased to be the first one to vote yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
I was going to say, I'm pleased to be the second one, but I vote yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Guariglia,
Yes.
Mayor Gyorfy.
Yes. I, Mark Gyorfy, Mayor, declare ordinance number 20-22 approved and adopted, and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. We now have one ordinance for introduction on tonight's agenda, following the theme of the ordinance we just passed. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the first ordinance into the record.
Ordinance number 21-22, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris for public redevelopment contracting pay-to-play reform.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I now have a motion to approve ordinance number 21-22 on first reading and schedule for a second reading at the regular Township Committee meeting on September 21st, 2022.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Second.
Okay, discussion and questions. Mr. Ravitz, did you want to provide an overview on this, or?
Just real quick, as we had said previously, money has a very corrupting influence on politics. And regardless of our political affiliation, you know, we care and we take seriously our commitment to serve the public and to be uncorrupted stewards of the township and town taxpayer interests. We join with other towns throughout New Jersey and other towns in Morris County in having such an ordinance. And to that end, we're introducing this redeveloper pay-to-play ordinance that sends a message to potential redevelopers who are looking to do business within the township that the governing body assembled here this evening and those who will serve in the future, that the government of Morris Township, the crown jewel of Morris County, is not for sale. And specifically, you know, this ordinance will prohibit the township committee from hiring professionals or professional services or consider a redevelopment plan from a redeveloper who has or has contributed over $300 to a campaign, a candidate campaign contribution, $500 to a local party account, or $2,500 in the aggregate. And this, as I mentioned, this is consistent with the state public disclosure laws, and codifying additional safeguards related to hiring and redevelopment processes strengthen public confidence in the practices of our municipality. So I am very pleased to put this forward.
Thank you, Mr. Ravitz. And to not go further into detail, essentially, this is taking the ordinance we just passed and now applying it to redevelopment in Morris Township. And as Deputy Mayor Wilson will note, there's two different types of redevelopment. This is dealing with a redevelopment that comes before the Township Committee in terms of a redevelopment plan or proposal. So we thought that this is in the best interest of our residents, and I'm looking forward to passing this next month. So I believe, Mr. Cantor, did you need to clarify something?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. There's just one small typo in the ordinance, and I just wanted to, there's a definition for applicable time period. And in 2B and C, it says relevant time period instead of applicable time period. So the word relevant should be applicable.
Okay.
And I think that's the only place that it has a relevant time period.
Okay, with that slight adjustment in mind, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes,
Ms. Wilson,
Yes,
Ms. Guariglia,
yes,
Mayor Gyorfy.
Yes. The public hearing and final consideration and adoption of ordinance number 21-22 will be held at the next regular Township Committee meeting on Wednesday, September 21st, 2022 at 7 p.m. We have 15 resolutions on tonight's agenda. May I have a motion to approve resolution numbers 174-22 through 188-22 by one motion?
Mayor, if I could,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
if we could add one resolution coming out of closed 189-22, and that's the appointment of Mr. Ronald Auth as the building subcode official, retroactive back to June 6, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Quinn. So I will now ask to modify. May I have a motion to approve resolutions 174-22 through 189-22 by one motion?
I'll offer the resolutions, Mr. Mayor.
And I will second that. All in favor?
I,
May I now have a motion to approve resolutions number 174-22 through 189-22?
So moved.
second,
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes,
Ms. Wilson,
yes,
Mayor Gyorfy.
Yes.
I'm sorry, and Ms. Guariglia, sorry, page cut off.
that's okay, yes.
Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar. We have one item on the consent calendar this evening, which is for the 6th annual Oktoberfest at Hayward Park. I believe I can still support this even though it's for my firehouse. And I would encourage everyone to attend. So can I have a motion to approve the one item on the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
October 1st, mark your calendars. Consideration of monthly reports. We have received reports from Finance, Fire, Joint Court, and Police for June 2022. We have received reports from the library and the tax collector for July 2022. May I have a motion to approve the monthly reports, please?
As circulated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Claims for payment. A total amount of bills and vouchers for this meeting is $13,256,466.48. As a reminder, we are also the tax collector for the school district, the library, and the county of Morris. May I have a motion to approve the list of bills and vouchers, please?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Guariglia,
yes,
Mayor Gyorfy.
Yes. Moving on to standing committee reports and commentary by the Township Committee. At this time, I will offer the reports to Deputy Mayor Wilson. Did you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. So let me first of all start by welcoming Donna and saying how glad I am to have you join us. I know that you, Donna, have a wealth of experience working on a very wide range of issues with many different people, towns, organizations, et cetera. And I know you'll be just a tremendous asset to all of us. So thank you for continuing to serve your committee or your community in this new capacity, and welcome.
thank you.
On my standing committee reports, although the environment and transportation have both taken the month off for August, both have public participation opportunities at their September meetings that I'd like to highlight tonight. So the Environmental Commission, the regular meeting on September 8th, will include a presentation for the public on energy aggregation. I mentioned this last month. Energy aggregation is a way of consolidating the purchasing power of our residents to purchase electricity at a lower cost, while also expanding access to green energy sources. And the September meeting will be a good opportunity to get educated on what this is, why it's important, and how it works. EC members are working with our staff, I know with Mr. Quinn, to create a publicity campaign for this event. The hope is for as many people as possible to attend. It's 7 o'clock on September 8th. We do anticipate, at least at this time, holding the meeting both in person and with remote participation by Zoom as an option. And so look for information in various sources, the messenger, the website, social media, and perhaps in the press as well in the days ahead. As part of our Transportation Committee's regular meeting on September 14th, residents who live in the Walnut Street neighborhood will have an opportunity to share any questions, suggestions, or concerns they may have about the upcoming road reconstruction project for Walnut Street. The input from residents is being taken before detailed engineering plans are developed. This is a change from our existing process in which resident input is usually obtained after preliminary engineering plans have already been developed, including an opportunity for earlier resident participation as well, is a best practice recommendation of the Sustainable Jersey program. We're trying this out to see how it works for our residents and for our professionals. The engineering department will also be sending letters in both English and Spanish to residents who live in the immediate area. I commend them for doing this. I think it's a great and important way to invite more widespread participation in the process. We're also hoping to have someone who's bilingual to help with any translation that may be needed at this meeting. I think this is a really important step in expanding public participation in decisions that have an immediate effect on your neighborhood. I commend our engineering department for the extra work they're doing to make it happen. And I encourage anyone who lives in the immediate neighborhood to attend and share your views. And it will be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to comment next month on the walk audit that we did on July 22nd. We're in the process of creating our report. The walk audit was of the Columbia Normandy Parkway intersection, and the purpose was to look for ways that pedestrian safety could be improved. I will just highlight that this idea came as part of a Sustainable Jersey action. And the action was, we will be getting points for this in our certification application. And we also got background information from Sustainable Jersey on how to do this effectively, which to me is an example of another of the benefits of the Sustainable Jersey program. It not only recognizes us for the stuff that we are doing, it provides guidance and additional information for things that we're not doing already, and guidance on how to do it. And I think that's important. I'd also like to highlight that our Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, the next meeting there will be September 12th at 3 o'clock. I believe that one is scheduled to be in person and by Zoom as well. And I would like to congratulate a couple of the appointments we made this evening. Betty Simmons, who we are appointing to the Transportation Committee, and we also appointed her to serve on the Board of Adjustment at last month's meeting. I'd like to also congratulate Thelma Auchenbach, who we are appointing to serve as alternate number 2 on the Environmental Commission, and Gabriella Rizzolo, who we are appointing as an associate member. On the terrible fire that occurred, I don't know the date, but recently in our community, I just want to extend sincere, deep condolences to everyone, to the family, to their friends, and many thanks also to our fire department for their service in this really extraordinary situation, and including our mayor, who I believe was there on site. Thank you. That was exceptional service. And I guess with that, that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilson. Mr. Mancuso, would you like to go next?
Thank you, sir. I would. I echo the remarks that Deputy Mayor Wilson made. Bob and Gemma Riccardi were friends of ours, of our family, for the better part of 40 years. We lived almost on the same street, right off of Winmore Drive. They were wonderful people. Bob did everything he could for needy neighbors. Anybody who needed anything, he was always there with help, dollars, or whatever. We served on the museum board together for about 10 or 15 years, and he was a great source of information and knowledge. And I just missed him a lot. And I just wonder where and when or how there's any way that we could thank them. Maybe, we'll talk about that among ourselves, as far as maybe putting up something to honor them, because they were really stalwarts of our community. And I'd also like to reiterate what Kathy said about our fire department, who did a superb job, and our police and EMT who helped out. So again, God bless them all. Keep them in your prayers. My best again to Marty Cohen and Joan Cohen, a friend and physician for so many years. Donna, congratulations on your first meeting. It almost seems like you've been with us for a long time. It's going to seem overwhelming to you in the beginning, and it gets better, and we're all here to help. Any questions you have, any thought processes you have too. I have a feeling that we're getting ready to go to live meetings. I'm still not in favor of it. I will vote for it because my colleagues would like to have it happen. But I think, not knowing where the COVID is going, or what the monkey flu or fever is happening, where it is, I think we probably would be best off waiting until the fall before we made a definitive decision. But as I said, I will go along with the majority on this one. And two other things, not small at all. As you well know, I mentioned last month, our 12-year-old Little Leaguers won the regional championship and lost in the next round. And I don't know what happened. I know our 10-year-olds were getting ready to go to Williamsport. I don't know what happened there, but I think the nice thing to do would be to honor them at our meeting next month, Mr. Mayor. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you, Mr. Mancuso, for your comments, and our condolences to you and your friends for the loss of the Ricardis. And we'll certainly work to do something on a township perspective to honor their lives and legacy. Mr. Ravitz, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'll start with the standing committee report. I really want to focus in on Parks and Rec right now. Last Wednesday, the Parks and Rec held our first movie night at the Collinsville Park. And considering the turnout, we hope to do it again. Perhaps future movie nights can be held at other locations, other facilities throughout the township, so all residents have a chance to attend one close to their homes. In addition, I'm delighted to share that our first outreach to residents at the Collinsville, residents of Collinsville on the renovation of Collinsville Park and Tucker Field was a huge success. Residents got to point out which of the current facilities they currently use and select from a wide range of new features that might be on their wish list to be incorporated into a new park. They had the opportunity to speak with our parks planner consultants on park matters that might be of concern to them. Next up, there was to be a mailer coming out the next few weeks so that an even wider audience of residents can have their voice heard on the features that they'd like to see and use. And then after that, we'll be reaching out to the community stakeholders for their input. This is an exciting time to be part of this major park renovation. I'm looking forward to being a leader in such a fantastic community partnership with the governing body. Just also, the Morris Township Fall Program began on August 11th. Please visit the Parks and Avenue Rec website to sign up using Community Pass for the many offerings that are available. As always, Morris Township residents will have first priority. There are numerous township-wide volunteer and scout project opportunities. It's a great way to get involved and to make a difference. Inquire at the Parks and Rec for a full list of projects. As the chair of the Fire Standing Committee, I want to echo what my colleagues have said. I want to commend Morris Township's bravest and all the volunteers, first responders who fought to extinguish the blaze where 2 of our residents perished. And my heart does go out to the family and friends of the victims. It's a terrible thing. And now I'll go on to my public commentary. I wish everybody a good evening, and thank you all for your participation in our local community government. National politics may get the spotlight, but what we do locally has the biggest economic and quality of life impact on our lives. First of all, congratulations to Donna Guariglia on her appointment to the Township Committee. She brings a wealth of experience in governance and leadership that will be of great value to all the township residents. I look forward to working closely with her during her term. There's a term that gets bandied about by one group of people that they use time and time again to belittle a company or a group for being socially responsible. And that term is woke. These alleged freedom-loving people are acting in an exact opposite manner. They are looking to curtail the rights and freedoms and choices of others based on their own myopic view of their world. Those who want the status quo are, in essence, afraid of new things and ideas. For some inexplicable reason, they find forward thinking threatening to them personally. They don't want anyone else to possibly enjoy something, have a freedom, or exercise an option that has no personal context in their own lives. Thus, being anti-woke is actually anti-freedom and pro-control. No one should decide what is lawfully right for anyone else. Those people are not in favor of representative democracy. They want to rule or be ruled based on a narrow set of beliefs of which they espouse. I suggest that we don't get caught up in manufactured outrage. And moving on, I encourage people not to sit in an idling car in a parking lot. Turning off the engine saves expensive fuel and it doesn't pollute. I also encourage homeowners to dispose of their gas-powered mowers, trimmers, and leaf blowers in favor of new battery-operated ones. I urge homeowners to encourage their landscapers to do the same. It's going to take every little bit that we can do to help mitigate the devastating effects of climate change. We've only got this one world, and we should all be good stewards of it. And as I remind us all every month, new restrictive laws in many states seek to discriminate or penalize certain demographic segments of our population. Let's keep in mind that no one is looking for special treatment, but rather equal protections under the law. Equal protections for all of us does not infringe upon or diminish the rights of any of us. We, the people, the voters, must do whatever we can with whatever we have for as long as we can to ensure this doesn't continue to happen. Targeting others is not the way any of us should feel better about our own lives. Also, let's not marginalize the people who have less political or economic power as some of us might now enjoy. Rather, let's face up to and stand up to those who continue to profit from our division. Such profiteers are the source of the nation's problems. We have more in common than should ever divide us, but we have to relearn how to talk with and not to each other, or not at each other. Amplifying misinformation and hateful rhetoric plays right into the hands of America's enemies. And finally, let's remember this as you go about your business each and every day, just to be a good person. Be kind to all, because kindness goes a long way. Thank you and God bless.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Ravitz. And it's my pleasure to recognize Committeewoman Guariglia for the first time, if you have any comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Gyorfy. First, I want to say that I look forward to when I can give standing committee reports. So I'm ready to get to work there, and also a longer commentary than I'll give this evening. I would like to, at this time, also express my deepest sympathies to the Riccardi family. And again, can't say enough about the fire, police, and first responders that are in the township who continue to do such a great job. I do want to mention Jen Karsich and Siva Janata, because I want to thank them for their interest and their continued service to the township community. While I have been fortunate to be part of many different organizations, the New Jersey Colonials, the League of Women Voters, USA Hockey, this is my first position in public service. And there is something truly special about being able to support and serve in the community that I've lived in for 38 years, and my husband Dave and I raised 4 children in. I know how important this role is. I understand it is a great privilege, and I get to represent my community. It is why I want to continue the council's good work to be transparent and well-run. It is why I want to hear everybody's ideas and thoughts, regardless of if I agree with them, because that's how we together can create change. I want to build a better future for everyone and deliver results for the people of Morris Township. I am dedicated towards working towards a stronger and better community for every person who lives here. I'd also like to mention how welcoming the Township Committee and the staff at Town Hall have been in the short time I've been in there already. So I know what a great community this is and the government that's running it as we speak. So now to you, the residents of Morris Township, I want to say thank you, and it's time to get to work.
Thank you, Committeewoman Guariglia. For my
May I
comment,
say something, Mr. Mayor, for a second?
of course.
I think, Donna, you have been doing community service for all of these years. So this certainly is not your first venture into this. You have been a community servant and you deserve all the honors that befall upon you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Here,
Thank
here. For my committee reports and commentary, I'll kind of jump around between standing committee reports and commentary. But first, congratulations, Committeewoman Guariglia, on being appointed. As we've discussed, you're someone who has deep roots in our community, who has demonstrated your long-term commitment to Morris Township through your leadership through organizations like you just stated, the League of Women Voters, the New Jersey Colonials, USA Hockey. As someone who raised your family here, I know our residents and our neighbors can be confident that they will be well served by you. I believe you're well qualified, you're an independent thinker, and I know you'll always keep their best interests in mind. I also do want to recognize Ms. Olivo Moore for all of her service, and just note to the public that we will be recognizing Tara at a meeting in the future. We're wishing her the best of luck today and this week. She is moving her son into college, and wishing her the best of luck with that. I'm going to go in a little bit next on legislation, on the Legislation Standing Committee, as we kind of discussed at length tonight. On the pay-to-play ordinances, I just wanted to commend Committeeman Ravitz for your leadership moving these two important ordinances forward with the support of the Township Committee. Together, these two ordinances will codify our efforts to keep outside influence out of the hiring and redevelopment practices of Morris Township. And I'd also like to thank Deputy Mayor Wilson for providing additional context as to what Morris Township has already been doing to identify issues that come up during public business and the appointment and hiring process. So I'm looking forward to working with you and Mr. Ravitz on introducing a resolution to codify our RFP process. I also wanted to provide an update to the public on the 21-day notice bill that's in the state Senate, and it is now, we're happy to announce, in the state Assembly as well. For those who don't know about it, last year the Township Committee passed a number of resolutions basically laying out what we think needs to be reformed at a state level as it relates to land use. One of those is expanding the 10-day notice requirements for public hearing to 21 days. We do it as a Township Committee for the redevelopment process, but we cannot control the requirements for the Planning Board and Board of Adjustment. That's run by the state. So we're thankful that Senators Bucco and Cryan introduced a bill in the state Senate to expand that notice window from 10 to 21 days. Assemblywoman Ora Dunn has now introduced it in the state Assembly, and we're looking forward to having a Democratic co-sponsor sign onto it so we can then push forward these two bipartisan bills. For Communication Standing Committee, our residents will be seeing our annual mailed newsletter in their mailboxes shortly, so be out on the lookout for that. I wanted to thank our Parks and Rec Director, Bill Fulsch, and his team for putting on a great event in Collinsville last week for the redesigned kickoff, as Mr. Ravitz spoke about, and the movie night, as well as for all the entertainment and activities your department has put on for our residents, from the concert series to the other movie nights at Ginty and everything in between. Your employees work diligently. They work long hours in the summer. You're also managing the pool, so thank you for everything that you do for our residents during the the nicest months of the year. Two other things. One, I want to just express my sympathies and condolences, as the other committee members have, to the Riccardi family. I think it's without a doubt that our community is heartbroken by this tragedy. And I know our thoughts and prayers are not only with the Riccardis, but also with the first responders. This is the second fire the fire department has responded to of a home this year that's been totally engulfed, which is particularly difficult, knowing that our first responders have very limited ability to put the fire out early enough. It's earlier in the spring we had Burnham Road, and then this year we had this month we had Normandy Heights, and you know, our firefighters did a tremendous job. I was very proud to be on the scene with the firefighters. We all, with our mutual aid departments, worked really well together, I think, and I commend Fire Chief Nunn and all the officers and battalion chiefs from both the career and volunteer divisions working to put that fire out and working together. I was really proud to be a part of the fire department that morning. And there's been a tremendous amount of work done by the police department. Our OEM were there, the Minutemen were there, the sheriff's office, so many mutual aid departments. So I'm thinking about all the first responders too, who not only were there at the fire, but also there for about a week afterwards for the recovery efforts. So thank you to everyone involved. Our residents can rest assured that they have top-notch first responders in Morris Township who are there to protect them. Lastly, as more of an administrative announcement for the public, Mr. Mancuso mentioned it earlier. In the spring, the Township Committee decided that it was up to each board and committee to designate when they're going to return to either in-person meetings fully or hybrid. Earlier this month, the planning board has returned to in-person meetings. Some of our advisory and committees will be meeting in person and hybrid in September. The Township Committee, the majority of the Township Committee, and I commend Mr. Mancuso with working out with us on this, have decided to return in September, so long as it remains safe for us to do so. But this will be the first in-person meeting since, I guess, February 2022, when Deputy Mayor Wilson was at the gavel.
Many moons ago.
So, as many may know, the rules about public comments are a little bit restrictive for our planning and zoning board. The Township Committee, to ease the transition, will be having virtual comments still next month. And I know we'll continue to see how that goes. So those wishing to comment next month do not have to be here in person. And we'll, I guess, determine how we're going to continue and proceed with that later in the year. But let's all be safe, and we'll be measured, and hopefully we'll be able to be back here in September. I think we're one of the last towns to be virtual still in the area. So we're looking forward to coming back and seeing each other again, but we want to make sure we do it in a safe way. With that, that's all I have this evening. We will now move on to our final public comment and inquiry period for general commentary. There are currently 12 members of the public joining us on Zoom right now. We will now open the meeting to the second public portion. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open the public comment period?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Well, it was either Peter or Kathy for either or both. So I see Mr. O'Reilly with his hands raised.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
James O'Reilly, 50 Independence Way. First, I want to congratulate Ms. Guariglia.
Thank you.
And I have a question. On the resolution 174-22, what's happening in that? Who is Nathan Nielsen, and what does this mean?
It's a good question. Mr. Quinn, would you like to answer?
Yes, sir. When people need to open up the roadway for put in like services like sewer line connections, water line connections, they're required to get a road opening permit and post a bond for that work, and then it is returned to them. So that's $1,000 bond that's being returned to a residence for that work.
Oh, so that's a private resident, not a contractor.
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Reilly. Good to hear from you. Mr. Janata.
Yes, this is Siva Janata, 77 Hillcrest Avenue. First of all, I want to congratulate Donna Guariglia. I concede to you, and I'm sure we haven't met yet, but I'm sure you're going to do very well. And congratulate you. And but I also want to share a little story. 2 days ago, on August 15th, India celebrated its 75th anniversary of its independence from Great Britain. And most people might not have known this, but that was when Jawaharlal Nehru said India, at midnight hour, India had its tryst with destiny. And my parents were in grade school at the time, and they related that all over India, English classes, instead of memorizing the poetry of Keats or Shelley or Shakespeare, they were memorizing the Declaration of Independence, the preamble to the US Constitution, and my father remembered Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And to think about what the reason is, was that the newly formed world's largest democracy was honoring the world's oldest democracy, the United States. And to think that people halfway around the world are doing that. And it inspired many of those young people, because many of them grew up to be engineers like my father, or doctors or lawyers. They built up their country, and some of them, like my father, my parents, came to this country to help build the country that inspired them. And that's something that we should think about in our own rancorous time, that they can be inspired by this. If they can be inspired by this, we, with our differences, should be doing the same. And these are not just meant for a privileged few. These are meant for, these are universal values that we should all share and we should remember. And I remember as a wee lad, when I was a toddler, my father was at the Lincoln Memorial, and he was reading on this, in the memorial, the very words that he had to memorize as a child himself. And he later visited the battlefield. And I just wanted to share that story and that memory, and something that we should honor, and in our own rancorous time, find out what we have in common, and this is what we have in common. So thank you for letting me share that story.
Thank you, Mr. Janot. Thank you for that story. It's a great story to tell, and incredibly important to tell it this day and age. So thank you for that. It's a heartwarming story. Any other members of the public wishing to comment?
Motion to close the public portion, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And just like that, adjournment is now in order. It is now 8:04 p.m. May I now have a motion to adjourn our August meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, our next Township Committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, September 21st, 2022 at 7 p.m. in person in Town Hall and via Zoom, with closed session beginning at 5:30 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Night, Danielle. Thank you.